Hello, everybody. It's the playoffs. It's time. It's the best time of the NBA season, guys. It's Around the NBA Playoffs Edition, presented by us, the Ultimate Sports Show. I'm your host this evening, joined by my amazing, talented, the best group of people that I know. Manny, Medina, guys. It's time for the playoffs. Got a lot of things to talk about. And obviously, go over last night's game because, guys, those games last night were something special. Obviously, we have to talk about the recap of the play-in tournament, guys. You know what? I'm getting used to this. The play-in tournament, kind of just feels like a playoff game already. I get it; it's a seeding game. But you know what? Like after seeing the play-in tournament now 2 years or so in a row of how everything's been, I like it. You know what? I think it adds another fuel to the fire. Obviously, some people say, let the seventh spot be the seventh spot. But you know what? I think it adds a little bit more fire, guys. I thought it was a great finish for everybody. What was your overall take on the whole play-in tournament?
Basically, it's kind of growing on me. I'm like you, Aaron. It's kind of growing on me. But the thing is, I don't know if I'm totally cool with the Atlanta Hawks being an 8 seed, but now they're a 7 seed because they ended up beating the Miami Heat. But honestly, I'm happy for my boy Trae Young. He's in the playoffs. Mind you, he didn't have a great game yesterday. We'll get into that, obviously. But obviously, to see him as the 7 seed is nice to see. And, obviously, shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. We all had them winning their second play-in game and being the 8th seed. They're playing tonight. It's going to be interesting for them as well. And the fact that Rudy Gobert is 1,000% back. He's going to have him, Cat, and Anthony Edwards playing. It's going to be good. And also, to see possibly the two best offensive centers in basketball facing off each other tonight, in Cat and Jokic. That's going to be very interesting to see, in my opinion.
Yeah. Go ahead, Medina.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought Manny was going to add more onto that. Yeah, I kind of want to agree with Aaron here. At first I wasn't really too big of a fan of the play-in tournament. It brings a lot of anxiety, but when it's your team kind of struggling to make the playoffs, you're like, okay, you know what? Maybe this is not a bad thing after all. But it's kind of like what Manny said too. It's like, okay, how were the Hawks the 8th seed, now they're the 7th seed. It's kind of just like a big jump, but it does add that feel of excitement. It's just a play-in tournament, but it does feel like we're watching a playoff game because these teams are bringing their all into it because they're trying to, each team is trying to show who wants it more. And you can see it from both teams, how badly they want to make it to the playoffs. So it does bring that excitement. It does bring that feel to the fire that, before the playoffs. And when it's not your team in the play-in tournament, you kind of sit back and relax and watch too. And that makes it a little bit more exciting as well. But, shout out to, the Lakers for making it. Shout out to the Hawks for making it. Shout out to, the T-Wolves for making it. They played incredible. We saw how they went up against the Lakers. And I honestly didn't think a couple of the teams were going to make it, but I was surprised. Anything can happen in the play-in tournament. And that's it. It has its good and it has its bads, So I'm kind of for both now, but who knows? By next year, my mind might change and I'll be completely for it.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's going to keep growing and growing. I like that. I like that of a better approach to do the play-in tournament than doing an in-season tournament. I will take that in a heartbeat over something in the middle of the year that just puts more wear and tear on the bodies. Guys, if we got the first game, the early game, the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Guys, besides those games and today's game's going to be fun. Obviously, Lakers, Grizzlies, Heat, Bucks, Clippers, Suns, Wolves, Nuggets. Obviously last night's game was crazy too. Those games were wild. I think a lot of people thought some of these wins weren't going to happen. Obviously, the Sixers winning, the Celtics winning, the Knicks winning. I mean, I'm sure Stephen A. Smith is going to be thrilled for that one. And obviously, the biggest thing is the Kings winning their first playoff game in 17 years. Great job. Great job. Round of applause as well. I was definitely surprised. It's definitely weird to see them see Sacramento with life, and obviously great for, obviously it's great for California. Honestly, it's great for California teams. Everybody's in the playoffs in California, and that's something that hasn't happened in quite a long time, or I don't think it's really ever happened. Everybody, I mean, but I thought the games, overall, I thought some of these games were crazy. How much scoring, how many threes. I mean, look, like, we're going to get into it a little bit more about the 3-point shootings versus the post play. Medina, Manny, what did you guys think? What did you guys think about last night's game? Were you shocked by anything? And as we move into the Lakers Memphis game, Medina, go ahead.
Yeah, I was actually, to be honest with you guys, I didn't watch the first couple of games, but I am surprised by, I'm not surprised by the Sixers winning. I am kind of surprised that the Kings won last night. When I was watching the game, I was like shocked to see how well they're doing. Because to be honest, guys, I hadn't been watching them during the season. I wasn't keeping up with them, but to see them go off on the Warriors last night, and don't get me wrong, the Warriors played one heck of a game. They were just 3-point shooting contest right there, and you never think anyone's gonna beat Steph and Clay when it comes to that. But the Kings showed up last night. Like you said, Aaron, they haven't been in the playoffs for 17 years, and they put a show on for their fans last night. Like, that crowd was so loud. Like, all the Kings fans finally just got like the drought is over. Like, they got what they finally needed out of that, and to beat the defending champions, like, wow, that's an incredible thing that just happened last night. And I didn't think they would make it. I didn't think that they would win. I didn't think they could keep up with Steph and Clay, but you know what? They proved us wrong. They're showing us what they're made of. And if they keep this up, honestly, I see this going to a game 7 even, which is exciting because that was one heck of a game. Like I said, I wouldn't mind more of those games to watch. What about you, Manny?
Yeah, honestly, this series is going to be a long, long series. I actually had the Warriors winning the series in 6, and you're right. It actually might go to 7, just because, like you said, the Sacramento Kings are actually playing really, really hard, and they play very, very relentless. And De'Aaron Fox played one hell of a game. He played very, very well. In his first ever playoff game, he had 38 points, you guys. He really led that Sacramento Kings team. And he shot 4 for 8 from 3. And he was 13 for 27 from the field. He actually was their main guy and the reason why they actually went in and showed out and beat the Golden State Warriors in that first game. And also, they got a lot of bench help as well. Remember a guy named Malik Monk? Used to play for the Lakers. He had 32 points, and he shot 2 for 4 from 3 and 8 for 13 from the field. I mean, he kind of got in foul trouble. He was like 2 fouls away from getting kicked out of the game, but he still played very well. And even Trey Lyles played very well. He had 16 points and shot 4 for 6 from 3. So the Kings could really shoot their 3. And that's how you're going to beat the Warriors, because the Warriors, we all know, these guys are 3-point juggernauts every single night when they play. So to see the Sacramento Kings shoot so well from 3, you know very, very well, you guys, that if you're going to shoot the 3 against the Warriors, you're going to beat them. And obviously, we obviously got to shout out the Warriors because Steph Curry always plays out of his mind in the playoffs. There's a reason why, as a Laker fan, I don't want to see them in the playoffs just for that reason. And speaking of Steph Curry, he played very well. 30 points, and he actually shot 6 for 14 from 3. Klay Thompson, basically the Splash Brothers played exceptionally well. 30 points, 21 points, and they all shot really well from the 3. And also, I'm glad to see that Andrew Wiggins is finally back from his injuries. He had 17 points. I mean, he didn't shoot really well from the three, but it's also great to see Andrew Wiggins back. Obviously, being from Canada, we have mad love for Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, obviously, I thought all those games today were great, or I should say, yesterday were great. Obviously, now let's shift gears here. Lakers, Grizzlies. Lakers big three. Obviously, LeBron, AD, and AR, Austin Reeves, versus the Grizzlies big three: Ja Morant, Jared Jackson Jr., and Desmond Bain. Guys, I mean, look, overall, I thought it's gonna be a great series. I don't think it's gonna be one-sided. I don't think there's no. I think the only advantage, and this is the only advantage I think there'd be, is I think the only advantage when it comes to both of the games, both between the two teams, is that the Lakers have the size advantage because Steven Adams is out for the year. So therefore, I think in the Lakers' favor, they have it. They have a little bit more open space to get to the paint. But a lot of what we've seen in a lot of the games yesterday, you saw is a lot of people shooting threes. You saw a lot of threes in the game and a lot of high-scoring action here. Now, do you guys think, in general, obviously with this approach, I think it comes down to this: if the Lakers want to win this game, I think Anthony Davis has to go off. I think absolutely Anthony Davis. I'm getting an agreement already from Medina. That man needs to go off. You need to take advantage of Memphis' small lineup, because I don't think theoretically without Steven Adams, I don't believe Memphis has really someone that could battle up with him. Also, the nice part about it is you can get big with him because you can also go tall and big. You can have Davis in the game. You might even see Tristan Thompson in this game get his feet going, see what he's got, and see if he can help you with offensive rebounds. I think ultimately, though, if my take is the Lakers want to win this game, take advantage of the paint. Don't go so much of attacking the three, because a lot of people forget Lakers didn't win the ring in 2020 winning threes in the game. They won it with post play. So remember the keys to their wins and how dominant they could be as a team. But also, guys, there's one guy that's a pain in the butt on that team, and one of the Grizzlies' bread and butter guys on defense, Dillon Brooks. How does this whole series look? Medina, we'll go with you first. How does the whole series look? How do you anticipate this matchup on Dillon Brooks, and obviously try and guard Anthony Davis as well, and trying to be a pest on the defensive end?
I have a feeling you guys already know what I'm going to say. But first, let me just start off by saying Lakers in 5. That is my prediction for this series. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Laker fan. And I think Anthony Davis, he's ready. I don't know if you guys have been seeing him during practice and the pregame and everything today. He's been making his shots. He looks like he's ready to be, dominating in that paint. And I really feel like he's a big key to win this game today. I mean, all the games against Memphis. I mean, don't get me wrong, LeBron, AR, Shooter, they're all, important keys to win as well. Everyone needs to step it up. But Anthony Davis being dominant in the paint is what's going to help us win this series. Like this, I feel like this series is about him and him taking control and giving us those 35 plus point games. And if we don't have that from him, I think we're going to be struggling a lot against Memphis because, like you said before, Aaron, the playoffs, they're taking everyone by complete surprise this year by who's winning. Just because the Lakers have probably a better lineup and, Memphis is kind of missing some of their key players. Don't rule them out. I mean, we've seen how Lakers kind of struggle against bench players too. So I wouldn't count this as an easy one either. But as long as we have AD, matching up against their team defensively, as long as we're making our shots in the paint, I feel like we got this game won easily. Now, do keep in mind, I mean, we're probably going to lose at least one game. That's why I say Lakers in 5. I'm not going to be too cocky about it, but as long as we're just playing really strong defense and, not turning over the ball so much, not, missing any of those free throw shots, passing the ball to AD, everyone else, of course, stepping it up on their game as well. Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5. That's all I've got to say. Manny, feel free to add on to that now.
I love your enthusiasm, Medina, saying Lakers in 5, and also shout out to my boy Tice in the chat. He said Lakers in 6. I don't think it's gonna be that easy. I want to believe it's gonna be easy, but the thing is, it's because the Grizzlies, I feel like they're just such a freaking good team. I have us winning in 7, and the reason why I say that is because Ja Morant scares the crap out of me the way he plays. He's so unpredictable. There's a few games where he'll just drop like 12 points. Like I know against Milwaukee, the last game he played, he only had 12 points. But the other games, he would drop like 30, 40-point bombs just like nothing. Like that's the scary part. But back to what you were saying, Medina, with the free throws. Even though we struggle a lot with the free throws, like the Lakers struggle a lot with the free throws, Memphis is the worst free throw shooting team in basketball. So I think we should be pretty okay in that department, as long as we don't go to the line too much. But also, back to Anthony Davis, we know what he's gonna do tonight, just because like Steven Adams and Brandon Clark are both not playing this series, so it should be very, very easy for Anthony Davis just to like feast right into paint. Like he's literally gonna have such an easy time just driving to the net, dunking the ball, and just laying it up and in. And also, there's actually one key to the game of slowing down Ja. And the one key that I have to say, Austin Reeves needs to be guarding him. Darvin Ham, I know you're probably not watching this, Darvin Ham, but if you are, listen to me what I'm going to say. Put Austin Reeves on Ja Morant. We know Austin Reeves is having a breakout season with the Lakers, but defensively, he's incredibly underrated. And we know if he's on Ja Morant, he's going to make his life a living hell. If Ja Morant's trying to shoot a 3, if Ja's going to go and drive the lane, or take 2-point shots, or just take like crazy passes like he does sometimes. So that's my take basically. And LeBron has got to be on his A game. We know LeBron has been a little inconsistent as sometimes this season, but this game we need to see playoff LeBron, and he needs to drop 35 points at the least. I know LeBron's 38 years old, but we know LeBron in the playoffs is a different animal than in the regular season.
What the best part about putting LeBron James's name in the playoffs is I think he's right there with Kobe Bryant as well, the late great Kobe Bryant, turning on the switch. And I'd say that it's just another switch you add to your level. Obviously, it doesn't mean look, like a lot of people could say, oh, like, be careful about their minutes. Be careful about their minutes. Let me say this to all the minute people. You've had quite a few days off. You have a few days off between game 1 and game 2, because your next game is until Wednesday. You have plenty of time to rest. If you're Darvin Ham, as Manny would say, if you're Darvin Ham, you go ham with minutes. So let everybody gas themselves out. You have plenty of time to recover, but it's got to be a team effort. I think in that case, it's got to be a team effort for them to win the game. Obviously, in Memphis's case, obviously I'd say the way this two teams match up on paper is very well. The point differential, I think they're both averaging about 115, 118 points, give or take 3.5 points between the two teams. I think it's a very well matched up. Guys, my prediction, Lakers in 6. Why? Because 6 games, right where you want to be. The 6th game would be at Crypto, so I mean you can't have a 19,000 filled stadium or arena with Laker fans not cheering you on and giving you that extra fuel to the fire. But obviously in Memphis's case, I think I give Memphis a chance. Why? Because they're a good team. They've been a good team. Ja Morant is, like you said, Manny. I mean, he's very hard. He's a very difficult. He's pesty. He can get in your face. He kind of reminds me. You know what's interesting is Ja Morant kind of reminds me of Westbrook back in the day. Very like, I'm gonna attack the rim, get out of my way. Let me try and throw down a dunk over the biggest center that you have. Um, and obviously, obviously, I was just gonna say this, and I think Tyson beat me to it. Is transition defense for the Lakers. If you don't have, if they're not, if there's no transition defense for that team, I don't give the Lakers chances to turn it on and beat Memphis. Your defense has to be solid. There's no room for excuses. Like, excuses are gonna get thrown out. Like, all your excuses and all your lack of the defensive effort showed up obviously in that play-in game. I mean, obviously the Lakers got lucky and won that game miraculously. But in order for them to win that game, I'd say Lakers have to be dominant on their defensive end, let the offense come to them. And you know what? If you're Memphis, I mean, look, they have a legitimate shot. And, we'll definitely see what happens. But my guess right now, if the Lakers want to win this game today, their team has to step up. Everybody has to be a team effort. If the Grizzlies are going to win this game, then their big three, John Morant, Jared Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, would have to put up some double-digit numbers, all three of them, really to make this competitive. It could go into an overtime game. I mean, you really don't know. Either way, I think it's going to be a great series. Guys, next game later today is going to be the Heat and the Bucks. Obviously Jimmy Buckets Butler versus Giannis. Do you guys think it's a one-sided matchup? What's your take on it? I think it could be a great series as well. I think that series honestly could potentially go 5 games. 5-game series. What do you guys think?
5-game series, I would say easily Bucks win it. Bucks in game 5. I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted reading the comments here. Just want to give a couple of quick shout outs. Thanks, Justin. I think AD is going to see my fresh new hairdo, and he's definitely going to drop those 45 points for me for sure today. And agreeing with LBJ here, Bucks in 5, like I just said right now. Don't count out the Heat. I think they might actually take. In my prediction, okay, maybe I'm a little enthusiastic today. I mean, I was the only one that said Lakers in 5. I feel like the Heat are going to win their first game today. I don't know. I just have this feeling. But I think overall Bucks are going to take it. But you know what, Manny, you're the stats man here, so your prediction is probably more accurate than ours right now. What do you think?
I'm going to say Bucks in 6. And the reason why, it's like you said, Medina. Do not count out the Miami Heat. We all learned that from the bubble. Remember when they were the 5 seed and they went up against the Bucks? They ended up upsetting them in 5 games, which was really, really surprising. Now, do I think Miami has the same team as it did in the bubble? No, not really. But the thing is, I cannot count out Jimmy Butler because in the regular season, he's not really that much of a polarizing player. He's still a great player. Just in the regular season, doesn't really show that much. But in the playoffs, Jimmy Butler is different, man. In the playoffs, like we all know, in the playoffs, he's gonna average like 35 a game. And Kyle Lowry too in the playoffs. Obviously, living in Canada, we all have bad love for Kyle Lowry. But the thing is, we know in the playoffs, Kyle Lowry as well can really, really go off. And when Kyle Lowry's hot, he can really, really torch you on offense. And then defensive end as well, Miami. They have Bam Adebayo, who really, really can grab the boards. Last game, a lot of people don't really talk about Bam Adebayo, what he did last game against Chicago. But he had 17 boards. He played great defense on Vucevic. So, I think they're going to have a hard to Bucks. But I still think they're going to handle it in 6 games because the Bucks defense is a lot better than Miami's defense. And obviously, defensively and offensively, it starts and ends with Giannis Antetokounmpo. We know what he can do. In my opinion, he is the best player in the NBA. So we know that he can average at least 35 and 12 a night in his sleep. And then even on the guard position, we know that Drew Holiday is one of the best defensive guards in the league, probably the best defensive guard in the league. And offensively he's good, but defensively he can lock down anybody. Like Kyle Lowry, I did mention that he can score offensively great in the playoffs, but he's gonna have a really, really hard time against Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is gonna lock him up. So, in my opinion, that series Bucks in 6.
You know, that's gonna be. I gotta say, I probably Bucks and I don't know. I think I'm sticking with 5. I think honestly, I can go 5 games. But obviously, the first 2 games really are what you're gonna see. You're gonna really see who is gonna shot, who comes out to play, whose defense is on it. How are the matchups looking? If it's getting one-sided, I mean, scores, everything, every little thing you're gonna look at. Obviously, the difference is the wins, losses. People are gonna look at all that and get a little bit more detailed on it after probably the first 2 games to see exactly what it's looking like. I think honestly it could be. Bucks in 5 though. But you know what? Either way, I think it's going to be a great matchup. Happy for the Heat getting in, having a competitive play-in tournament. It's good to see them back. But obviously, I definitely would say that the Bucks have a better chance of winning this series, at least for the way it looks. Next game after that, got to be the Clippers and the Suns, guys. No Paul George, no problem. Do we? I think people are gonna look at it this way. So people are gonna say, people will say that the Suns will win it in 6. People will say, I've seen people even say, Clippers getting swept in the first round, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, look, I even like Jay. I definitely am sticking by it. I think Suns in 6. I think the reason why I think I'm taking a different approach at it is I'd say the difference being Paul George obviously has been out. Paul George has been out. He's going to be out at least this series. He sprained his knee on the 21st of March, and he missed the final 9 games of the regular season. But how does this fall on? Kawhi Leonard? Obviously, you have Norman Powell, Zubac, and Terrence Mann, all putting up great numbers. But you know what? If you're the Suns, look, you have Chris Paul, you have in DeAndre Ayton, and you have newly acquired Kevin Durant. I think it just falls on the Clippers a little bit more to try and produce by your other guys to help you out, because you don't have that extra push in Paul George on your defense and your offensive end. I think, at the end of the day, I think even Russell Westbrook's got to have to show up for them as well. Because, look, when you're playing a team with Kevin Durant, it's all hands on deck. And, I think if Paul George doesn't play, and he is for sure out for this series, I think it's probably either going to be Suns in 6 or Suns in 5.
Well, either one of those predictions are a little hard for me because I think it's pretty obvious that it's hard to root for either one of those teams. But you know what? My bets are all on Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and everyone to win this game. I'm not going to count out the Clippers, okay? As much as I don't want to admit this, they're a pretty solid team, even without Paul George. I don't think they're going to get swept. I think, as much as we're Laker fans here, it's pretty obvious. But speaking facts here, the Clippers are actually a good team with or without Paul George. I mean, we've even seen them play without Kawhi, and they've still been a good team. So I don't think they're going to make it easy for the Suns to win. I think they're going to play whatever they have. They're going to go all in on this. And my take on it is Suns in 6, just because Suns do have that upper hand of having Durant on the team now. But, don't count out the Clippers. You never know. They could probably surprise us this playoff series. But, I mean, I'm rooting for my boy Devin Jenner this series, so don't mess it up.
Devin Jenner, Medina's boy. Well, either way, I'm going to say Suns in 5 just because, I feel like missing Paul George is going to be a really, really big dent to the Clippers just because he's Kawhi's second guy on the team. And Paul George has had an incredible season. Like, he's shot the ball a lot better than he did last year in the minimal games that he played last season. He shot 45% to last year only shooting 40% from the field. He's averaging less minutes, and he's playing a lot better as well, which is crazy. And so I feel like it's going to be a major loss for them not having Paul George. Kawhi Leonard is going to have to play like the Claw Kawhi Leonard, like real Kawhi Leonard, back on the Raptors and on the Spurs. He's going to have to really go ham this series for if the Clippers have any chance of winning. But in my opinion, the reason why I say Suns in 5 is because Kevin Durant in the playoffs, it's basically like Steph Curry and LeBron in the playoffs. The guy is just a different human being in the playoffs and the regular season. He pushes a lot harder in the playoffs, and rightfully so, because we know what he did when he went to the Warriors. He literally, that was Steph Curry's team, and he literally went there and won 2 Finals MVPs, and he literally averaged like 35 a game in those finals and in those playoffs. And I feel like Phoenix has a better chance now than they did way before, because now they have Kevin Durant. Mind you, they did lose a lot of their depth. But the thing is, now Devin Booker has a running mate. And this guy has been having an insane season. He's been averaging 28 a game, shooting 47% from the field. The guy is going ham, in my opinion. And also DeAndre Ayton. A lot of people like to knock on him, saying that he's a little soft. A lot of people do say that about DeAndre Ayton. But we know what he can do. He can grab the boards. He's been grabbing at least like 13, 14 rebounds a game in the last few games. It's just absolutely incredible. So he's gonna really, really put Zubats to the ringer tonight. And obviously Chris Paul. We know Chris Paul, even though he's 38, 39 years old, he can still play. He's been playing very, very well as of late. The last game he played against the Denver Nuggets, which was about like 6-7 days ago, he dropped 25 and 6. We saw vintage Chris Paul that night. So it's going to really be interesting to see him and Westbrook, because obviously on Twitter, Lakers Twitter, like we all know that we like to ridicule Westbrook sometimes, especially the way that he didn't fit on our roster. But on the Clippers, he actually found a home finally, Russell Westbrook. And I'm actually, from the bottom of my heart, I'm actually happy for Russell Westbrook, because now he's actually on a team where he can perform and he has no pressure. Like, lately, he's been averaging 25 a game, 24 a game, 22 a game. Like, he's actually been playing very well. It's going to be very, very interesting to see Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul duel up against each other in that point guard position against both teams.
Yeah. Guys, both what you said about about the Clippers game, Clippers-Suns game, is obviously extremely valid. Obviously, you know what? At the end of the day, guys, I just want a great series. Nobody wants a one-sided series. No matter if people hate the Clippers, like the Suns, hate the Suns, guys, you know what? Like, the biggest thing I just want to see in these playoffs is a good series. And that goes for everyone. That goes for everybody that's playing. Just make it fun, competitive, no dirty fouls. And I can't stress this enough. No injuries. For the love of God, and for the love of this season, of how many injuries, I mean, I'd have to look back on how many different injuries there's been this year, or people that are out for the year with their season-ending ones. Obviously, the one I could think of, obviously most recent, was Lonzo Ball and Steven Adams. But just the fact of all these injuries this year, like, I think the biggest thing I just want to see is a clean game. And you know what? The biggest thing that, like, I know in the Lakers T-Wolves game, one of the biggest things LeBron and Davis were both saying about that game, was the refs let them play. Like, if you really think about it, like, obviously there was some moments in those games where, someone should have gotten fouled, so on and so forth. But obviously, you know what? Like, for the majority of the time that I've seen, I think that the refs are just saying, look, maybe we're been too hard. Maybe we've been calling things that shouldn't have been called, and they're finally saying, look at all the officiating that how bad officiating has been this year. And I mean, look, we can have a whole show about how bad the NBA officiating has been this year. But maybe Adam Silver is taking a better approach to say, look, let these guys play. Like, get back to some of the old school basketball that says, you know what, if someone's going to attack the rim, let them attack the rim. If you're going to slam something down, you can draw contact like that. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things this year that we've all seen. But obviously, like, in general, like, you don't see enough the points in the paint. And that's something that goes for everybody. That's not just for the Lakers. That's not just for like, for instance, Clippers and Suns. Perfect example of them. Seeing Zubac attack the rim. They have DeAndre. You have DeAndre Ayton. You have Ivica Zubac. Both of those guys are fantastic centers. I think you don't see enough. Centers going to the bread and butter spots. And, a lot of people were saying, with the Lakers, when it comes to the Lakers, they won their rings and they won teams in the past have won their championships because of some of the old school basketball mentalities they've thrown in there. So I'm hoping you could see a little bit more of that. I feel like the 3-point shooting has been really high already this year. Letting guys shoot out of their comfort zone. What do you guys think? I mean, do you guys think you should see a little bit more of the inside post, or do you just think that people are just going to rely on the threes, basically live and die by it every game?
Well, it's kind of like you said, Aaron. The Lakers, they won 17 championships, and not by being a 3-point shooting team, but just, thanks, Manny, just by their jump shots, taking it into the basket. As long as you're dominant in your paint, you're pretty much solid from there. I mean, yeah, sure, it's fun to watch teams like the Warriors, and like great example, last night's game, the Kings versus the Warriors. I mean, that was like a 3-point shooting competition. That was a little scary to watch too, because if we have to face any of those teams, it's going to be a little difficult. But a lot of these teams, that's all they really have. They don't really drive the ball in anymore. And that's something that I do credit the Lakers for, because they're pretty much the only team that can actually do that. They're not a 3-point shooting team. That's not what's going to help them win the championship. But what helps, teams win the championship is how they play in the paint, how they play defensively. I mean, that's why they have 17 rings and all these other teams don't. They have a couple at the most. But, no, I completely agree with what you're saying, Aaron. And I wouldn't be surprised if, I'm not trying to be like biased here because I'm a Laker fan, but when the Lakers have it together, they're a really solid team. And that's why we're one of the best teams out there. No matter where we stood in the last couple of years, there's a reason why, we're tied with Boston, but there's a reason why we have the most rings in the West. And that didn't come by, just, 3-point shooting competition, not 3-point shooting. I think we have our own specialty that helped us win, and it's going to help us win these games too. And, it's fun to watch. It's cool to see. And, something else I do want to mention too, the officiating, it's been a lot more lenient, and it's nice to just see these guys go back and forth with each other. It's nice to see, it's kind of like these players got so babied and spoiled. Like, they want everything to be called and to be a foul. And when you see them crying on the court like that, you're like, no, just continue, man up and go play some ball. You're going to win this game by not shooting free throws. You're going to win this game because you're either going to dunk that ball, you're going to take your jump shot, if you want to go shoot your 3-pointer, shoot it, but don't sit there and cry and for a foul that didn't even happen. I'm glad that the officiating has toned it down. And I saw that a lot in last night's game too, against the Kings and the Warriors. They just went back and forth, and it was so nice to just see that consistently flowing and not just stopping the game every 10-15 seconds to shoot a damn free throw. And that's my personal take on it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm seeing it too, that the officiating is calming down a little bit, because at the start of the season, oh Dio mio, it was bad. It was really bad. Like, I would never ever let the NBA and the NBA refs let it down what we went through in Boston. Like, I'm never gonna let them let it down. That was horrible. But at the same time, Medina, I do agree with you're saying, the fact that like some players are being a little babyish. Like, LeBron didn't have to throw a temper tantrum over that. Like, he could have just went up to the ref and said like, "Hey, can you look at the replay, please?" Like, that was not fair, that call you made. But he had to like make it a whole temper tantrum, and so do a lot of the players do it. But in my opinion, it also has to do with money as well. Like, they make so much money, these players. They think they're bigger than the NBA, you know. But yeah, I'm glad that the officiating calmed down. Hopefully today with our Lakers, like, there's no like questionable calls, because I will come on here at night and go ham on the refs if they do.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing, guys. Like, obviously in the comments, we want your opinions too on it. What do you guys ultimately think as well, with how everything's been with officiating? Leave them in the comments. We'll definitely look at them, definitely share them as they come in. But you know what? Like, I think that we've had so many games. I think we've had so many games this year that have just been decided by a foul that shouldn't have been, a foul that was never called, tempers thrown, people screaming at the refs. Guys, it's just not good for the game. And I feel like if you really want to get back to things here, obviously other people have called the NBA soft now, and that's, I think, one of the biggest things. Like, we've heard it before. We've heard they're soft like Charmin. We've heard they're soft in general. The league is soft. The refs are calling every little bump when players barely get touched. And it's like, you got to look at some of these films from the 1990s and the 2000 through the 2000s to the 2010s, and look at some of these games that they sat there and said, great, let these guys play. Like, if you wanted a free throw, you had to earn it. I feel like in that case, I think the aspects of the refs and the officiatings has really got to get better, and I hope this is a good start for the league. But obviously, guys, I mean, look, it's going to be a great series. I think the playoffs are going to be something special here. I think we have obviously something great here going on with our show, guys. And the best part about it is, we're going to be here every step of the way. Manny, Medina, do you guys have your final thoughts for all these games today? Final thoughts on yesterday's games? I mean, what's your final takes, guys? Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't think we gave our predictions for the T-Wolves and Nuggets game.
Did we really miss that game?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Guess what? We got one more game then.
Yeah. I'll give my final thoughts on that. That series, honestly,
Yeah.
I'm a little tied down on that one. I'm not really sure how far that one's gonna go, but I'll make a prediction. Nuggets in 6. Just because I feel like T-Wolves, again, don't count them out. They're a solid team. I don't know. What do you think, Manny? Do you think T-Wolves got this, or you think the Nuggets got it? I think Nuggets got this series.
Nuggets as well. I say Nuggets in 6. I'm with I'm literally with Jay on that one. Nuggets in 6.
Nuggets in 6.
It's not going to be that much of a crazy series, but I do think it's going to be so fun, as I said in the start of the show, to see Kat and Jokic, the two best offensive big men in the league, go off against each other. That's going to be fun. But just the thing is, the Nuggets have experience, the Timberwolves don't. So I feel like the Nuggets are going to close it out in 6. And Jamal Murray, we know he hasn't really done much in the regular season in the past few years because of injuries, obviously. But Jamal Murray in the playoffs, we all remember what he did in the bubble. And we cannot count out the Denver Nuggets for that reason. Do I think they're the best 1 seed that I've ever seen? No, absolutely not. But I do think they could at least go to the conference finals at least.
Yeah, I think that game's going to be great. Obviously, with Anthony Edwards, Gobert, Cat. The Joker being the Joker, obviously. Do you think he has a chance to win the MVP this year? Just the way the numbers he's putting up. What do you guys think? Do you guys think he's definitely up there for a contestant to win MVP?
Actually, sorry, Medina. I
Go for it.
I have to say
for it.
something about
Go
MVP. Honestly, about your pick for thinking about MVP, Jokic and stuff like that. I can't give it to Jokic or Giannis. I'm sorry. I have to give it to Joel Embiid, and the reason why I say Joel Embiid, he's doing a lot with a less talented team than those two. Like, compare rosters, Milwaukee's roster, Denver's roster, and Philly's roster. Philly is the worst out of those three, in my opinion, roster-wise. Besides James Harden, who's their best player besides that? Tobias Harris? Furkan Korkmaz? Nah. I say Joel Embiid is the clear-cut MVP. And if he doesn't win it, the NBA is completely rigged.
Facts. I don't disagree. I'm all for what Manny just said right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's playing out of his mind this year. Obviously, it's him and James Harden basically leading the ship. So, it's I think he has a chance. Obviously, I think it's going to come down to it of just what the how they want to vote on it. But look, guys, I think all these games, all of these games and all that are being played today should be great. Guys, I'm looking forward to it. Everything should be pretty close. I don't think I'd be shocked. I don't know about you guys. I'd be shocked if anything is a blowout today. I'm guessing the highest, my guess overall for the games today, wins are going to be either by 10 or less. 10 or less. You guys think it's fair to say? You guys think it's going to, or you guys think, yeah?
I don't think there's going to be any blowout games. I'd be really surprised about it too. It's playoff.
1,000%.
It's playoff mode. Every player is going to bring it today.
I totally agree. The Lakers game, I literally think it's going to be a 2-point game. The Timberwolves and Nuggets game, I think that's going to be like a 5-point game. And the Bucks game is going to be like a 3-point game. The Clippers game is going to be like an 8-point game. It's literally going to be under 10. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Like, everything's going to be so close.
Guys, we're just getting the playoffs started here. I think that's the beauty of it. I think that is the best part about it is, as some people that missed it, we back. We are not going anywhere, guys. And catch us after the game because we got postseason playoffs through this whole way. We're going to be here the whole way, guys. Thanks for joining us for Around the NBA pregame show, playoff edition. For Manny Medina and myself, my name's Aaron, guys. And we will talk to you later on tonight. See ya.